We're back with some more feline forensics in the Meowseum mystery. Ho ho ho! I'm excited. Let's talk to the frog, the critic, the artist even. Salutations, detective. Have you solved the case? Not quite, but I have some questions that may help. About today's events. About the guard. When I collected his witness testimony, he neglected to mention anything about bumping into you in the courtyard. That does not surprise me, Detective. Don't you remember what I said before? Even with all this paint, people just don't see me. You did say that, huh? I suppose I didn't quite grasp the severity of it. That's not uncommon either, I assure you. If you have any doubts about my honesty in this situation, I can present my perspective in greater detail. I don't think that'll be necessary. Your testimony is entirely plausible, especially considering the frantic nature of tonight's events. I think I'll move on to some other inquiries for now. Whatever it takes, Detective. Oh, I don't actually want to talk to you about anything else, my friend. I'm off to chat with the boar, if that is his real name. He's in the courtyard. You know what? Am I thinking about this game so far? I've been thinking about this game a lot. What did I think? I thought that perhaps the punk, he fell off the thing himself. The old timer was chasing him. Why do I always think though that it's someone doing it themselves? That's my always thought in these kind of games. Howdy doody, Detective Rooney. Heh, doody. Please call me detective. I'm the investigator in this case. How are you holding up with all this commotion? Just tippy-topper, Investicopper. Little word I'm getting behind on my itinerary, but I'll survive. An itinerary? Are you on vacation? Yes, he's a tourist. You ding-dang bet I am. A nice long trip like I always wanted to. Just wasn't in the dealer's deck until recent. Call me a regular tourist, because I know you got plan every stop. You know what would they be saying, Detective? Failing to plan is like planning to have a good time getting lost. Oh, I like that. I think we should get to the topic at hand, don't you? Radio, don't hold back. Hit me with your best shot. Hit me with your best shot. I gotta buy a lot of names, Detective, but when you see is what you get. Just an old free spirit flying through the back half of life. That sounds quite nice, actually. Are you flying with any family? Oh, you really are good at this, huh? You always know what to ask. Of course I've got family, a little brother and his star piglets. Dear me, does their mother have her hills full with them. She's practically a sister to me, too. You should, you're traveling. It's difficult to be away from them. It stinks to silver, that's for sure, but I try to send him a postcard every couple of days, and I collected far too many souvenirs for him. When our Pop would go out on business trips, he'd always bring little baubles back with him, so you know I gotta keep the tradition alive. I'm sure the kids will love that too. Let's move on with someone else for now. Radio, don't hold back. More personal questions. What do you do? Nowadays, not much. I'll do some odd jobs when I get back from this big old vacation. But past that, no more grind for me. That's a fortunate position to find yourself in. How did you manage that? That's a tough one, Cat Detective. Long story short, my pops was into some particular business, at least until he died. I was a teenager there, and my brother was even younger, so fending for ourselves wasn't much of an option. Luckily, Pop's work buddies took us in. When I got a bit older, I took over the operation he left behind. A decade later, we landed a pretty profitable contract, and the rest is history. I see. Did your brother follow along as well? Mildly heavens, no. In fact, that's what kept my eye on the truffle. I didn't want him to get involved. That's admirable. Why don't we talk about something else now? Radio? Don't hold back. You want it? You got it. What were you doing? Let me tell you, much of the same I'm doing right now, standing on my old two-hooves, gazing at all these colors. At least until the podcaster came on through and started asking about my camera. They called it such an old-school vibe. What about it was she interested in? I don't know, but she was mighty excited. I let her look it over because I didn't see much harm in that. I took my eyes off it when the argument upstairs started becoming an issue, but she didn't seem shady or nothing. That's when things really started to kick off. Is that so? Let's discuss further then. Radio, don't hold back. Um, what happened? A whole lot of you asked me. Well, I guess you are asking me, aren't you? But most of it I wasn't privy to. Those two upstairs were in a bit of a brawl and one of them shot a gun. We haven't found this gun yet, which is interesting. Instinctually, I stepped in front of the podcaster, but luckily I don't think anyone actually got hurt. That was when we had some gas smash in the other room, and the museum's alarm started blaring. Didn't think this sort of thing could still rile me up, but in that moment I must have been sweating something fast, like someone splashed my back with a pail of water. Sweated in a pig in a... I tried to tell the girl to save her own fire, but I don't know. Maybe she was more invested than she let on, and I wasn't going to carry her out. When I got to the foyer, the artist was already arguing with the curator about letting us out. Guess the alarm put everything on total lockdown. And I don't blame a single feather on them. They don't know what was what. They just told us to stand by and wait for the police. Not my favorite gang to deal with, but I sat tight and that's all about she wrote. Understood, but I think I have more questions. Radio! Don't hold back. Any additional details? About your camera. Oh, this old thing? I've been my trusty companion for ages. Been through some bumps and bruises, but nothing a good buff can't fix. Had a hearty crash today, didn't we, buddy? Ah. You didn't mention that in your testimony. What happened? Didn't I? I told you I'd let the podcast look it over, right? When everything started to go sideways, the gunshot probably swooped her and she dropped it. A real player too, second biggest of the day, maybe. That's deeply. I don't want to ignore the obvious issue here, so... Why do you have a camera in here anyway? Surely the museum's policies would forbid it. Oh, don't worry, detective. I had it all cleared with the curator. They said it was fine as long as I didn't take any photos. There isn't even any film in here. I guess that makes sense. I think I have a few more talking points, if you wouldn't mind. Radio, don't hold back, actually. Oh, I can ask him about personal questions, actually. Never mind. What do we do about this business? Now that's the story, and I bet you don't want me to spare even the tiniest detail. Don't be afraid to abridge slightly if necessary. I'm just yanking your tail. Thing is, there's not much to say. I was a poor piglet told to pick himself up from his boot traps, and I don't even wear boots. And told I worked hard, but it was a couple of lucky decisions in better company. What do you wear, not boots? It looks like you're wearing boots. I mean, your jeans go all the way down to the floor, so... but it was a couple of lucky decisions in better company. Right places and left times, you know? Nothing if not a storyteller. And a good one at that, but I wouldn't want to put you into a catnap with the details, detective. You already are, mate. You already are. No matter of details would be enough to distract from the fact that you refused to answer the question. Or did you truly think I wouldn't realize? Look, Whiskers, simply put, some of the crowds weren't the most savory, but folks with deep pockets. Pops put us into some circumstances and went off and oinked. It forced me into decisions I didn't like I ever made. And that's important to know now is, well, I got more curls in my tail these days. Wouldn't make those choices again if I had to. I wouldn't press the issue now, but I hope you understand that if I have a reason to suspect its relevance, I won't have much choice. Oh, I think I get it. Don't sound so stern, detective. If you think I'm running from something or into another, rest assured the worst of it always comes with me anyway. I understand. Let's change topics then. I've got nothing to talk to you about now. But you are suspicious and you're on my radar. Let's have a look at these lights. These are the exhibit. The plaque reads, On the Essence of Colour by Sir Richard Crookstein von Lillipad de Wart 4. And the nasty word of noir grey, be a crystal of colour. Is that the artist? Perhaps? If so. The artist said that he wasn't working on anything, but he's a frog, so perhaps. Antiquities. I've been in here before, I know that. Let's go back to the main hall for a bit. I also want to go upstairs and have a look at where the gunshot might have landed. Also, what's this? A hedge. No sense in leaving any stone unturned, or shrub in this case. Just gotta reach a pole in and shuffle some leaves. Oh, what's this? Something's perched between these branches. It's cold and it feels like metal. Could it be what I think it is? Yes, it's the casing to match the tip from earlier. I'll have to update the evidence records now that I have both pieces of this bullet. However, the question remains, where is the weapon that fired it? That was my question exactly when I jumped into this game. So, you're one step behind me, Cat Detective. The casting was found nestled within several branches of the museum courtyard's top area, while the tip was dislodged from the broken stone pieces of a museum exhibit. Neither has any signifying features other than the caliber, which we can assume from its size means it was fired from a pistol in the courtyard balcony. However, several factors are still left unknown, like where the weapon ended up. Based on everything I know so far, could I triangulate its most likely hiding spot? Perhaps. We can't investigate it. So it was between um, the stone pieces and the courtyard. So the stone pieces were in here, and the courtyard was over there. So let's have a look over in here for the gun, shall we? While it loads, I'm just gonna have a little sippy of water. Oh, that was good water. Alrighty. Anything to investigate around here now that we know that this is a broken Moai statue? No. But we can talk to the lady some more, so let's do that. Hey there, detective! I have some questions for you. And please keep all of this between us. Oh, we've got a lot to talk to her about. Oh, like, totally. About true crime. You've quite a passionate interest. What is that for? Oh, I know a trick question where I had one, detective. Of course I love crime. Crime solving. Crime solving? Do you have a background in criminology? That sounds like a question I can only answer. Behind the paywall! Do you know you can unlock great features like this on my Patreon? That won't be necessary. By the law and part of the law, let's stay on top of it. Well, you know, true crime is trendy, so that was a good start, but then I don't know, it was genuinely fascinating. Well, really? Okay. In all honesty, I'm pretty normal and my life has been like pretty easy. There's people out there that definitely do not have it easy. Trying to stay into the shoes of a criminal is one thing, but thinking about everyone around them, that's different. It's just easy to think this wouldn't happen to me until it does. True crime lets you really reflect on unrealistic situations that are really real. That's actually quite insightful. If you want to know more, make sure to wickedly whack that follow. Make sure to whack that follow button, everyone, that subscribe button. Yes, that's another question I have for you. Like, whatever you need, detective. For sure. About the guard. He said you both exhibit into the exhibit simultaneously, but this contradicts your testimony. Why the inconsistency? I don't know what you want me to say, detective. I told you everything I know already. I came in, saw the diamond was gone, took a quick look over the body, and the guy came running in after. If I was going to lie, why wouldn't it make more sense for me to agree with the guard? I'm admitting to having no witnesses. I suppose you're right. So the diamond really was missing when you arrived? Yeah! Maybe you stole it. Okay, fine. I'll ask some different questions instead. Whatever you need, detective. I think the student stole the gem, and he's got it in his backpack. And that's why he is being so cagey. Okay, about the camera. You mean the tourist camera? That thing was like so nice. Wish I could afford one, but they're so vogue right now. Yes, that one. You mentioned looking over it. Did you notice if it had any film? Oh, it must have. Didn't I tell you what happened when I dropped it before? Neither of you mentioned dropping the camera, no. Well, actually the tourist did, but... Whoops, silly me. Well, you remember the gunshot, right? Blammo and all that. That didn't bother me at all, I guess. But then with the glass shattering, the alarm went off, and that's what got me. The noise made me jump, and whoop! That was when the camera just drops right out of my little hands. When it hit the floor, there was a big flash. It probably took some sort of photo. Of course, I got it back to him all in one piece, and before I even noticed, everything afterwards went pretty much the same as I told you before. That's certainly an interesting wrinkle. May have a few other inquiries to make before I can continue investigating this. Whatever you need, detective. Alrighty, goodbye. Goodbye, Miss Raccoon, and thanks for the very interesting information there. So that's the courtyard, that's the antiquities, and this is the entrance. Let's go into the entrance for now. We also want to double check over some of our evidence, what we've got here. But let's talk to the guard first. Aye, aye, detective. What can I do for you? Let's start with a few questions, if you won't mind. Personal questions. 10-4, good buddy. What did you do before? I worked as a policeman for a while, but not as long as was expected at the time. You certainly don't look like you've reached at retirement age. Ho 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 ho. Young for retirement, sure, but not that young. Most folks stay in the field for a long time. Wasn't for me, though. I grew up with police dramas and was big enough to deal with bullies, but the concept of bullies is a bit more difficult when you're an adult. Nail on the head, detective. Don't get me wrong, there were times it was very clear. Just not always. Even instances that were clear in the beginning became murky down the road, or in retrospect. Eventually parting ways with the force seemed like the best decision. I came to that conclusion sometime later. By that you mean it wasn't entirely your choice? Highly encouraged choice, perhaps. A tale that isn't much too uncommon, I think. Could we discuss something else? Absolutely. About today's events. About the guide. You mentioned in your testimony that you discovered her in the antiquities exhibit, starting from the sound of the gunshot. As much as you know about her condition, do you think it's possible she could have been unaware of your presence in that moment? Oh, I hadn't really considered that, but I bet you're right. I can't reiterate enough how much I really did try to help, but the curators always had a lighter touch, so calling for them was the best call I could make. I agree. I don't think you did anything wrong. Just need to corroborate the two stories. So thank you for that, but I've still got some more questions. Actually, I don't. Never mind. Go away. Let's read. We've already read all of these, so let's not worry about that. That will just tell us about the boar. And I still don't really want to read all of this. Let's see if we can find any red circles in the answers. Aha. The curator discovered the guide in a stunned state and attempted to rouse her. Well, that was different to what the guard said. The guard said that he found her and then called the guard over. It wasn't long before the guard writing called for the curator. Okay. Attempted to rouse her. I don't know exactly. Maybe the curator? Maybe we'll talk to the curator. Hello, curator. What have you got to say to me, good friend? Detective. I trust the investigation is going well. Oh, come on. So I have several things to discuss if we could. About today's events. Before. Yes. About the suspects. I met them all and started to establish profiles on each. There's some at the heart of this, and I'll find out who. Yes. Congratulations, detective. I have the utmost faith in your sleuthing skill, so please continue to work diligently. It's getting late, don't you think? Injustice doesn't sleep, I'm afraid. It takes time to shine the light on truth. Fine, do what you must. Take as much time as you need, but remember, the very fate of this museum hinges on your ability to resolve this efficiently. I think you meant effectively, curator. Either way, we should move on to another topic. Now we've done all of these. I still want to talk to you though. Alright, during. About the guard. You described her as stunned until eventually your efforts to rouse her were successful and she told you to call the authorities. But she described the situation different, that you failed to calm her and left her there moving in order to call the police. Oh, she said that, did she? If you recall, I also described her as selfless and to a fault. I even know she's like a daughter to me. I regret to say that she lied to you, detective, to save my feathers. For curator did not prioritize the safety of the guests or even their exhibits. I believe she intended to maintain my proper image. A new act and certainly loyal, but it was still a lie. I'll have to reconvene on that, but for now we have other matters to discuss. I would expect nothing less. And can you tell me more about before the camera? What camera? I was discussing tonight's events with the tourist in the top of his camera rose. Did you not notice he had on it when he arrived? Absolutely did not. I'm sure you understand, detective, that recording of any kind within the museum is strictly against your policy. Why would guests come visit if they can observe a rudimentary facsimile someplace else? I had a hunch that what you say, but it might reveal some important evidence, so I'm going to tame the prospect for now. Fine, I suppose that is a mighty concern at the moment. I agree. Let's discuss more important concerns then. I would expect nothing less. Ho, ho, ho. And before about the mission. Specifically, they're paid by the victim earlier tonight. He was charged for 2 injuries. Was he accompanied by anyone? No, he wasn't. That's when I started to suspect he was up to no good. And I was correct, of course. And why would he have paid for 2? I hope this wasn't malicious on your part. It was no mistake. When I told him there was a charge for admittance, he said he would pay for himself and whoever comes in next. That's all. Just to clarify, he didn't know there was a cost in it, but he was willing to pay for 2. I didn't think much of it, Detective. It seemed to surprise him, so perhaps he didn't want to have that to happen to someone else. Did it portray my initial impressions of his character? Sure, but he confirmed this soon after with all this mess he's caused. It does seem that way, but we can never be so sure. By chance, do you remember who came in next? That nervous one with the backpack. I tried to explain the situation to him, but with all that stammering, I don't think he heard any of it. The student, yeah, I knew that the student got in for 3, because he said as much. Intriguing. Why don't we move on for now? I would expect nothing less. About today's events and the final before. Can you tell me about the critic? He said you requested an article to be written. Can you tell me more about that? Detective, I'm afraid I have no idea what you're talking about. Is that so? He said this wasn't the first time. In fact, he said the first one did quite well. I'm sure he did. Why don't you ask the old timer about that? See if his memory is held up enough to recall that catastrophe. Why you being so mean to Cass? And also, my apologies, this struck a nerve. But for now, I have other topics we should get to. I would expect nothing less. And more additional details about the alarm. The state of the alert, awarded on a grant several years ago, runs through every wall, door, and exhibit. A bit Orwellian, but I do what I must. It took a long time to amass such a wondrous collection, so I'd like to keep it. I don't see any cameras, though. How does it work? That's the beauty of it. It's entirely invisible, reading paw prints on the surface of display stands, glass cases, and frames. They recognize registered users, so if I were to rearrange the exhibits, I wouldn't have to worry about disabling the entire system. Of course, the rest of my stuff is also registered. Conservators, appraisers, or technicians get temporarily registered as needed, too. The guy mentioned the discretionary response system. Do you know anything about that? Vaguely. For instance, putting the doors on lockdown is an early stage response, whereas that atrocious sound is much later. I know that much. I see. So if someone stole an exhibit, a noisy alarm would alert everyone, warning the thief that their cover was blown. Of course, if the thief broke into an exhibit to steal it, well, they've already relinquished the advantage of discretion. In that case, the alarm siren acts more like a warning system to other guests. I'm starting to see this intelligence you mentioned. Yes, well, I hope it makes closing this case easier for you. Easier and quicker. Easier, perhaps. Quicker, I'm not so sure. I think it's time to retrace my steps towards that broken display again. Before I do, though, I have some more questions, if you wouldn't mind. I do not have more questions, if you wouldn't mind. We got more stuff that we can put in here as well. Earlier tonight, the blank and with the who surprisingly had a gun. This will be gun, right? Gun. The anxious student, right? As well. Let's do that one as well. The anxious. They also include the anxious student. Suspects would include the bitter old timer, and the distinguished critic, perhaps. Maybe the eccentric artist. And then what else we have? Nothing else in here yet, just that page. They also include the anxious station, the jolly. Who do you think is jolly? Maybe the podcaster is jolly. And the reserved artist, critic, detective, guard, manager, officer. Maybe the tourist is Definitely not reserved, I wouldn't say. Yeah, that's definitely wrong. Let's put the who's reserved out of this. Let's have a look at my people that I've met. Thanks. So these are the people working. Revolutionary art by turning a famous museum exhibit into a commentary of capitalism. Prior to the incident, it was counting bones of the various stations for okay, and became memorized watching the colourful swinging pendulum. When an argument started in the fine art gallery, decided to head downstairs away from the noise. Now, in the courtyard at the lower level, a gunshot was heard, sending the guard barreling through the room towards the fight upstairs, and then continued to the empty foyer in an attempt to leave the now dangerous residence, but found the front door was already on lockdown. Moments later, tourists rushed in, but it was informed him that the door was already on lockdown, leaving them stuck inside. With the alarm blaring and the museum on lockdown, the curator returned to the foyer to call the authorities and told them to stand by until they arrived. Okay. So the anxious, definitely the anxious student, right? The jolly, I wouldn't necessarily say that the podcaster was jolly. Maybe it's this one. Yeah, the bitter old timer as well as distinguished critic, and the jolly tourist. And who's reserved the artist is. The artist is way more reserved. Perfect already. It's they earlier tonight. The blank in the blank. With the tourist, I reckon this one is punk, right? This one up here with the punk. The old timer earlier tonight. The old timer. Fought in the blank blank with the punk. I was thinking it was like fought, you know. Like argued or something like that. Argued in the it was the hold on. I do know this. I do know this. It was up here, right? It was here that they fought originally. The and that's the gardens down there. So the garden balcony. Garden balcony or courtyard balcony. The old timer argued in the courtyard balcony with the front, who surprisingly had a gun. They yeah, so they like moved from the courtyard balcony into if we follow the blood splitter. The blood splitter is gone, like it's on that side. Maybe they started arguing here actually. Maybe we can find out from the testimony. Because they definitely went in here, right? Because this is where the blood is. Another shotgun spit. Can someone's shipped in the wall, another painting crooked. Broad, continued west. Yeah, so they went this way, and then they went into here, and they knocked this over. And this is where the blood trail ends. Okay, we've already looked at this stuff. But yes, they fell down from here. Podcast has got nothing for us to talk about right now. So maybe they started their argument in that room. Let's have a look back into our thingies again. And have a look at the reads. Pause for alarm. Okay, nothing in there. But I should continue to do more. While collecting some initial staging, right, that's the thing. Since the thief took to direction, destructive measures to seal the drill. The state of the security system, and is there a way to access the security cameras data? The meta guest. Okay. Not devastation suggests crooked stanchions, crooked exhibits. Make it seem likely the victim likely fell from above the scene. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. The victim had a receipt. Whoever comes in next, right? Which was a student. The scattered or perhaps hidden in the courtyard shrubbery was the casing of the bullet. They endured arguments and altercations he had with the victim. Okay, so let me have a look at those information regarding the thingy here. Not the artist, the old timer, if we can find him. The guard, the old timer. Okay, with no interest, he went upstairs to the fine art gallery where the punk began to antagonize him with petty comments. So fine art was where they started. In the fine art balcony or fine art exhibit, perhaps. Yeah, they fought. They fought, moved, argued, destroyed, fell, dropped, forgot, fought. Maybe they fought in the courtyard. Perhaps. And eventually the punk I want the punk, thank you. Fell. Fell. From the, what is it called? The old place? Natural history. That's what it's called. Natural history. Natural history balcony. Maybe it's antiquities? Okay. Amidst the chaos, someone stole. The gemology. From the natural history exhibit, right? Exhibit. Perfect. Woo. I knew I was on to something. I got the basic details of this case all sorted out and met every suspect. Now it's time to really get to work. I agree, it is time to really get to work, isn't it? I've done no work so far. As they blink in the blank into a blank, causing the blank to be blank. I think that's got to do with the extension, right? But I'll pull that one in later. Let's look at stuff. I probably know most of that information because I thought that one was about the Moai statue. Well, let's talk to the old timer first. He's here. Skip the pleasantries, detective. I don't have all day. I'm sure you don't. Let's get started. Additional details. This ain't making me any younger, detective. What can you tell me about this article? Do you know the curator requested the critic come write it today? No, actually not. I'm sure he, sorry, they wouldn't ever ask the critic to do that again. The curator alluded to a previous article. What happened with that? I'll keep the story short, this isn't his mind to tell, but between you and I, it wasn't pretty. It was harsh, but perfectly fair. Bad murmurs that put the museum in a rough spot, but that wasn't our concern. Despite tonight's commotion, the museum seems fine to me. Let's move on for now. Not too much longer, we're done. Alrighty. You are all good, Mr. Critic. I'm gonna go see... who am I gonna see? The student, perhaps? I want to see what he tells me. I got things to ask you about a student. Nothing to ask you about, though, guard. No. I can't ask him about the thing. What I also want to do is go into here, now that I've figured this out, and go find the curator, the guard. So we know that this was against the testimony of the curator. No, I don't think that's right. She has a valid reason for not knowing the whole truth here, but someone's cleared it up. Who was it? The guard. Maybe the guard? Yeah, the guard. I see, that makes sense. Considering her condition at the time, there's no way she would have known that the guard tried to help her. As far as I can tell, this was just an anonymous mistake, but worth keeping the record straight nonetheless. And I saw that the guide is unsuccessful in doing so. The curator left the guide, prioritizing the museum, and went to call the authorities from the foyer. That is against the testimony of the curator. While the curator did leave to call the authorities, it wasn't before successfully rousing the guy from his stun. Was she intentionally trying to throw me, or was she just trying to maintain the curator's reputation? Oh, I can go ask her now. Have you put it all together yet, detective? I certainly have. I'm working on it, and I was hoping you might be able to answer a few questions about the guard. I don't believe you're aware in the moment, but I figured I should tell you. He did try to help you while you were in that stunned state. Unfortunately, he didn't know how to help, but he called for the curator to come take care of you. He wished he could have done more, he said. The guard has always been the nicest. If you get the chance, tell him I appreciate it. I'll bring him an extra croissant tomorrow. I'm sure he'll enjoy that. I've got some more details to go over. If you wouldn't mind. Sure thing, detective. About today's events. About the curator. According to your testimony, they helped you up to a point and then prioritized calling the police. Unfortunately, they didn't corroborate that. They're giving me a chance to revise my statement, detective? Okay. Yeah, the curator would never have prioritized the museum over us. At least not as far as I've ever known. They did help me recover more than I let on before. It was my idea to call the authorities. The curator theorized that you attempted to protect their reputation. Is that the case? I suppose it was. I know they came across as a brick-proof detective, but they do mean well. And they do whatever it takes to support us. I just wish there was a way to do the same for him. That does seem to be a little bit of a trend, but there are other topics we should also get to. Okay, so everyone seems to like the curator, so it would be surprising if he did something like this. Let's see if we can figure out something about the mouse, shall we? The mouse, what do you want to tell me about yourself? The punk, the student, there we go. Enter the museum, paid admission. Well, he didn't even say that paid admission, we just know that this is false. He got in for free due to this administration receipt. Yeah. Could it be that the student just stumbled into a bit of luck? But why lie about that? Maybe through all the excitement he misremembered. It could be that easy, right? Tell me. I'm innocent, I swear. Every time you say that, I get a little less confident you're telling the truth. Let's get to the questionnaire. Is this a test? Never been good at the test, detectives. What about it? There's no fee or anything, right? No, in this case, someone had come in before you and paid in advance, actually. Hey, call it luck, right? That kind of thing never happens to me. So you weren't aware of who paid it? Nope. Didn't think anything of it, just went on my way. Waiting for that date, like I said before. Well, it turns out the generous patient was caught in this chaotic situation, and unfortunately it cost them their life. What? Detective, I lied, okay? I lied to you. I didn't come here for a date, and I do know who paid my admission. The punk, he was my friend, my best friend. So please, could you tell me what happened? He and another visitor got into an argument. Ultimately, he fell from the balcony in the natural history exhibit. It seems to have been fatal. Oh no. Okay. Detective, you can ask him more questions if you really need to, but after that, I'd like a few minutes to myself. Of course, in the meantime, I'll continue to investigate the details of the brawl. It goes without saying, perhaps, but I'm sorry for your loss. Okay, detective, if you say so. I don't have anything more to talk to you about now, student, but I do feel sorry for you if you are telling the truth this time. Nothing there, nothing there, nothing there, nothing there, nothing there, nothing. Oh, never mind, the guard. He arrived to the exhibit at the same time as the podcaster, who upon questioning didn't seem to know much about what had happened. So we could say that that does not meet with the podcaster's testimony. Ah, I see, that makes sense. I could give him the benefit of the doubt, but by the podcaster's account, this doesn't line up. Can't think of an obvious reason he would lie, but it would be best if I asked him directly. And have we got anyone else that might be lying to us? Yes. However, when a gunshot was heard, he stormed off into and through the courtyard towards the shocking sound. That does not get through to the artist, right? Ah, yeah, the garden moved straight through the courtyard. He bumped into the artist on the way. Well, that might seem minor. The most minor details can turn an entire case upside down. We've got a lot to talk to the guard about. Anyone else? Nope. Yes, the critic. Arrived at the museum intended to write and publish a request by the critique by the request of the curator. With the old timer as a guest perspective on the article. That does not match with the curator or the old timer. No? Okay. Let's do the old timer in that case then. Testimony of the old timer. Perfect. He might have been helping to write an article about the museum, but there's 2 testimonies against this claim. Well, I lie about that at all, and perhaps I should pay him another visit and ask. And finally, do we have anyone else? Not the artist, alrighty. Okay, let's go talk to them and see if we can get any information out of them. I also kind of want to talk to the tourist again, but we'll do that a little bit later. Let's go talk to these Cox. Yep. I've got many things to talk to you. Aye, detective, what can I do for you? Let's start with a few questions, if you wouldn't mind. You got the green to go ahead, detective? About the artist. Do you recall having encountered him earlier, perhaps in the courtyard? That's a tough one, eh? The tourist is there and the podcaster. Oh, you know what? The artist was in the courtyard. Come to think of it, when I was barreling through to get to the brawl upstairs, I never tripped over my own 2 paws. Or so I thought, but then you mentioned it, yeah. Must have been him that I was stumbling over. Such a silly thing for me to forget, ain't it? So sorry, detective. I guess my own memory was a bit hazy after the whole debacle got out of control. Apology accepted and understandable. And you know that's not terribly uncommon. Why don't we discuss something else for now, then? Absolutely. About today's events. About the podcast, you saw her in the natural history exhibit. Did you suspect that she could have stolen it then? Initially I did, yes, but she was quick to explain herself and it all made sense to me. She told me that she had come from the courtyard just a moment prior in response to the sound of breaking glass and a loud thud. That would have been the gemstone being stolen and the victim falling from above. Considering the timeline, there wasn't much she could have gotten up to. I had to break it to you, but she did have a few moments before you arrived. Not enough to steal the jewel, of course, but she did steal the victim's belongings. Oh no, you don't say. Oh man, I know I should have been more strict with her. I was just so concerned with calling the police and getting things under control. While your motives were understandable, this could have been avoided with a bit more diligence. Yeah, sounds familiar, detective. I'm sorry about that, and thankfully you're steering things right. I'm working on it at least. Let's run through a few more questions. Alrighty. I've got nothing to talk to you about now. Oh god, that voice. We want to go. Let's go to the courtyard first, actually, and have a chat with the good old what's his name, tourist. See if he has anything to chat with us about. Why am I so sad? Private Eye is watching you. Yes, right. Let's get to the topic at hand. Additional details. Let's dance. About your camera. We've been over that already, haven't we, detective? There ain't much more to say. Well, there's one particular detail I think we should go again. You weren't using the camera at all tonight, correct? Of course, the creature would have had my head if it was. There ain't even any film in here. Then how come, according to the podcast, the camera's flash went off when she dropped it? You should take a video of this photography course. Just because the flash goes off doesn't mean it actually took a photo, detective. But if you're so confident in your theory, then how about you check it out yourself? You can take my camera as evidence as long as I get it back. It's empty, you see, but full of sentimental value. I'll make enough to return it once the case is closed, unless, of course, they discover something incriminating. And I should tell you how much I trust you to do the right thing, Detective. Here you go. I appreciate your cooperation. Now can I get input on other topics? I do not. Oh, let's investigate this camera, shall we? See if we can see anything. There's a... This is where the film would be if I... Oh no, here's the film. Okay, let's have a look. Any film in here? No, no film. Okay, he wasn't online. And is the flash on? Oh, of course, I knew there was something out there. Or rather, there isn't something here. Sometimes they can be just as important. But I bet this is probably another case of someone's sticky paws. Okay, let's go talk to the podcaster in that case. If she's got the USB stick. Was that what's missing there? As they... Ford. Yeah, this will be Ford. The old-timer... yeah. Pushed the podcaster, right? Or... I guess not exactly pushed. Pushed the podcaster into a thing. Knocked or causing the blank to be. When it fell, it hit the old-timer blank. The punk checked the gun into a... yeah. Right. So when the punk shot the gun... shot the gun. Well, you don't shoot a gun, you shoot a bullet, but, you know, I'll allow it. Into a exhibit, right? That'd be the right word. Causing the exhibit to be... What, the bullet to be lodged or something like that? Locked, hacked, hid, retreated, fought. I could destroy to drop. Probably destroyed. Causing the exhibit to be destroyed. Sculpture. Shot the gun. They put the pump the gun into a sculpture, causing the sculpture to be... Well, we're missing one. Well, we're missing quite a few. When it fell, causing the to be dropped. Maybe dropped. It hit the sculpture before, and then right. Anyway, let's do some more investigating while I'm I think I've got like the right idea, just the wrong words or something like that. Need the gun. I just bet I've never really been a fan of water. My suspicious of correct, I need to do what must be done. Pour in the fountain. Detective here gives nothing. Although it's cold and very wet. My floor is going to be uncomfortable for the rest of this evening. Aha, there it is, the murder weapon. Smoking a dripping gun. It was likely fired during the boiler upstairs and dropped soon after. We'll have to look it over to gather some information and then start questioning the various subjects about it too. Okay, so we get a gun. Let's have a look over it, shall we? We've got some more words, which is helpful for this like little case that we got going on. I suppose it will get a red circle on it when we've got enough information to be able to press this way. Oh no, it's vibrating more this way. So there or there. Oh, very vibrating here. Okay, what do we got? Anything in the mag? Nope. Oh, of course, I knew there was something else here. Thankfully, it's not still loaded. I won't be doing any more harm anytime soon. Although I can't get much more from this than a weapons aspect. What are the chances someone here will be able to tell me more? Well, maybe the tourist, seeing as he's, some information about guns, apparently. Do you know about guns? About the fight? You mentioned that you had a pretty clear view, as much as you could have on the lower level. Could you tell me more about how that went? You betcha. I'll tell you now. I don't know why they were fighting. Whatever it was must have been mighty serious, though. They came onto the balcony swinging, and I didn't think he would have had it in him, but that idle timer would not let up. I get where it was coming from, of course, because the punk had that gun at all, so he probably was thinking there wasn't any room to let up. He must have got a step ahead, struck him once, then got a good shoving. Landed the punk with his back flat against the wall. Considering they both got their hands on the gun, it would have went off shortly after. It wasn't a sign I would soon forget. An interesting contradiction, it seems. I hope you don't mind, but I have a couple of questions you could ask before I leave. No, I do not, actually. Goodbye. So that's interesting, right? We got more information about more things. What's this way? Let's go here while we're here. Okay. The artist. We've got nothing to talk to the artist about. Maybe some stuff with the podcaster as well. I know we want to talk with the critic. Maybe the student as well. Let's go see. What's here in fine art? Ah, yes, there is the critic. You have yet to acquire a new attire. I'll give you this one for free, detective, about the article. Oh yes, did you want to read it? I have an early draft if you'd like. That's interesting, considering the curator was entirely unaware of that request you mentioned. They must be playing coy with you. Or maybe they're just embarrassed that they need my help to keep their museum afloat. But I guess you wouldn't understand standing on the outside, desperately trying to look in. You're trying to change the topic. Did the curator ask you to write that article or not? No, they didn't. They didn't have to. I received an anonymous tip and decided to be generous. Fine. It's my turn to change the topic then. Okay, so he's still being very coy about everything. But we've got more information than we potentially need. Let's see. Okay, podcaster. I want to talk to you about after it clattered to the ground, she removed the camera and returned it to the tourist. Thankfully, it was completely intact. Not true. We saw the camera is missing something. I see. That makes sense. Yeah, she returned the camera, but not without a case of sticky paws. In an attempt to get more promotional material for her podcast, she swiped the film while the tourist was distracted. Okay, so let's go grab that then, in that case. Go see her down here and get her to give that film back. Hey there, detective! Some questions for you. Please keep all of this between us. Only if you subscribe! Just kidding. How familiar are you really with the progress of cinematography? And not too much, but you can learn about anything on YouTube nowadays. Oh, you think it'll open boost my follower if I did? Is that why you're so interested in the tourist camera? I've got it right here, but with some bad news. It's empty after all. No film to be found. But he told you it was empty, right? You said that, right? So no surprises there. Oh, of course. After all, photography isn't usually allowed in a place like this. Duh, you're super right. What a shame. Cold trail. Anyways, totally moving on. No, humor me for a moment. Let's say he did have a film in it and was taking photos he shouldn't have been. Someone taking it off his guilty conscience would be quite fortuitous, wouldn't you say? Fine, I have it. You can take the film. You're thrilling me, detective. Just know I only took it to make some promotional material for my podcast. You could always be on that grind and it would have been perfect. I would say I understand, but the bottom line is I have a case that needs solving. So we should move on to other inquiries. And have a look at this filming. Let's see. Anything on it? Now to find a way to actually develop it. We need to find a red room for that. And that would be caught on film for my little button here. I'll read that. Maybe I'll read that in my off time. Or maybe I'll put it up on the screen so that you can read it yourself. I don't really feel... Maybe I will. Maybe I will say all of it. I don't know. Tell me what you want in the comments, everyone. I don't know. What do I prefer in a YouTube video? People reading it out, generally. I'm always, like, very anti-reading. So maybe I will read it, but, you know. Oi, detective, what can I do for you? Let's start with a few questions, if you wouldn't mind. I just feel like it'd be one whole video of reading about the weapon. I've recovered it from one of the courtyard founders, as well as the 2 pieces of a 5 bullet. Not sure what more to make of them, though. Well, for starters, this bullet most certainly belongs to that gun, in case that was ever a question. Well, I don't have a clear view from the first floor. I'm fairly certain it was the punk that had their hands in the grip. Wait, did you say you actually found the gun in one of the founders? I did, yes. It's my current operating theory that the old timer got some sort of advantage against the punk and forced it from his grasp. Makes sense to me, but isn't it a bit far-fetched the old timer would have the wherewithal to drop it so precisely? Whether they're both disoriented enough that neither of them can actually keep a hold of it. That explains the precarious tension in the courtyard too, eh? Actually, you're right, that does sound more likely. Now, some other things I'd like to question you about if you wouldn't mind. You're a very helpful guard. You're pulling some stuff up that I wouldn't think about. Well, not in my current state anyway. The old timer is keeping some secret from us. What buttons do we press? These ones. The fight continued to escalate, leading the punk to slam the old timer into the wall, but he didn't let up. That's true, isn't it? I mean, we could put that against perhaps the testimony of, like, the tourist? What did the tourist say? I can't remember. See, that makes sense. The old timer didn't shove the punk into the wall. He was the one doing the shoving. For having such pride, it's hard to believe he would willingly make himself seem weak. I wonder what he has to say about that. And amidst the struggle, the punk fired the gun, but missed his target. The old timer then disarmed him with ease. That is against the guards current. I can confirm now the gun was fired only as an incidental result of the moral. When it went off, both men were so disoriented that neither kept a hold on the weapon or pursued the fight much further. So I think that the old timer was trying to make it seem like he killed him for a reason, but he didn't, right? Or something like that, maybe. We can't look at the film right now either. I can read the film out at least. What does it say? A photography film calendar that once belonged to the tourist. During the chaotic events that unfolded earlier, this film was used to take an accidental photo when its camera was dropped by the podcaster. Seeing an opportunity to acquire big potential, she slowed the film, but I convinced her that submitting the film to evidence is more important. Alrighty, well, we'll figure out a way to develop that soon, but firstly, let's go talk with the boy here. The man, the fella, the guy. Old timer. Skip the pleasantries, detective. I don't have all day. I'm sure you don't. About today's event. Yeah, get on with it. About the fight. There were witnesses that saw it go down a bit differently than you described. Would you like to revise your statement? I don't know what you're talking about. I've got nothing to hide and no reason to lie to the most pathetic authority here. Pathetic, eh? At least I would admit to having taken a hit, especially in a fight where I was the only person to walk away. Oh, if you're trying to say something, go out with it. You falsified your testimony. The punk didn't slam you into the wall. You shoved him in an attempt to disarm and disorient him. And at that moment, the only thing you did was widen the gap, and he was able to get a stronger grip on his gun. Fine, yes, I did get too aggressive, but I didn't back down. I kept up the pursuit because if I didn't, he would have shot me. You know that's the truth, detective. So don't fault a washed out pup for defending himself, even if he did have a tendency to embellish. Just as I had no need for embellishment, I made note of this, and there's other details I had to go over with you. About more of today's events. Tell me about the weapon. You describe in your testimony they disarmed him after he fired it, so why did I find him one of the courtyard fountains? Perhaps he had a reason to dispose of the evidence? You want me to come clean, detective? I'll come clean. I told you he didn't know what he was doing, and neither did I. We're fighting over it, and was fired accidentally. The sound of the kickbutt, the surprise of it all, it disoriented us both. He elbowed off backwards, like I told you, but I was a bit winded as well. That's when the critic found me. I was in rougher shape than I let on before, detective, but everything else is true. For what it's worth, I'm glad you could walk away, that you're safe. I'm too. If you ever provide a witness testimony again, please consider presenting only the truth. Luckily for you, it's time for me to focus on my notes. Although, that's it. Okay. Do we have anyone else that has a little red circle in there? Little thingamajig. Nope. Everyone is now telling us the truth. For the most part. Apart from the punk. He's dead. And the tourist. He's not dead. Let's go talk to the tourist, shall we? Tourist, how you been? How you been, Alice, as well? I haven't talked to you in a while. I've got nothing to talk to you about. Perhaps you know a place to develop film. Alrighty. Tell me about this camera. Oh, where did you find that, detective? Funny coincidence, right? Considering I got your camera and evidence and all. You know the one that you showed me didn't have any film in it? And surely this film wouldn't fit in. Oh, wow! Would you look at that? It fits. Just right. Like you said, just a silly coincidence. If I have to spell it out any further, I might have grounds to charge for contempt. Is that what you're going for? Alright, you got me. Not only did I have the film and the camera, I may have taken a few photos. I didn't think it would have been that important. I was just trying to save my hide if we got back to the curator. You understand that, right? Obscuring the truth for personal gain? I can't say I do, although it's not the first time I've witnessed it. I mean, all's that well that ends well, at least. If it helps you solve this case, I'm relieved you found out. You turn out to be incredibly important, yes. Let's move on. Okay. Nothing too exciting. We really need to find a read room. Let's go talk to the curator. Do you reckon the guide? You got a room to develop paintings, photos, things like that? Surely this is an art room, right? What about you, curator? Do you know? Can we have a look at our little map of the thing? Where would I be if I were a developing room? Nowhere really. None of these. Okay. Caught on film. We've still got some more words. Let's put that when they fought the causing the gun to be dropped, right? Causing the gun. The old timer shoved the punk into the wall. Let's put punk in there. Pushed or into a wall. Causing the gun to be dropped. I mean, that sounds about right. Push, maybe? This is shoved. Actions. I don't know. Shove seems more right. Or struck the punk. No, shove the punk. Shove the pump as they fought, as they argued. No. So it's definitely shoved. As they fought. The odd timer shoved the pump. Let's try certain words and see if they are right. This is what I do when I'm a little bit stuck. Yeah, so it's definitely an old timer. Know that for certain. Let's try commissioner here. The old timer commissioner, the okay, shoved. Is it not punk? It is. It's weird that all of these are like lighting up fine, but we've still got. Maybe it's into like a picture or exhibit, into a fine art. No, it's definitely a wall. So it's maybe. Okay. Let's worry about that a little bit later. Yeah, anything else? Let's have a look in there, shall we? Meeting our suspects. Okay. And the murdered guest. Why have these got paw prints on them? Does that mean that they're finished or perhaps? Let's go for a little run around the museum while I think for a bit. So yeah, the old timer and the pump. We're fighting the struggle with the gun. The gun fired. Then they dropped the gun. So maybe it's causing the gun to be shot. Oh, we tried that, didn't we? Gun to be fired. What do you guys think? Tell me below. Alrighty. Phantom room. Nope. Nothing in there. Try to make a conscious effort to not. Oh, this is okay. That goes actually straight down to the exit. I thought that was maybe like a little balcony above the exit. I go straight out into the exit as well. That goes out to the balcony above natural history. And this is the balcony above the fine art. Let's have a look here for a second. Yeah, look in here. Nope, there's a cell phone. Oh, the plaque reads, would you like to take control of your past or change the channel of your future? Control the past. So it just shuffles the screen and the television exhibits around. They almost have me there. And what about the future? Does that do the same thing? Yes, okay. Yeah, I've seen an exhibit like that before. The plaque reads Fairy of the Wall by Anthony Goatley. I would have thought I'd seen photos of this one before. It seemed much larger. Oh, really? True art. I've never seen photos of that one, but it looks cool. I like it. Is dead. True art is dead. The Bean. The plaque reads The Lagoon by Anish Kapoor. The shape is intriguing and its surface so reflective. Wait, is there something in my teeth? Why didn't anyone tell me? The Bean is obviously in Chicago. You've probably seen it. Anish Kapoor, terrible person, copyrighted Vanta Black. Gross. He made it for his own use. I hate him. That's it, really. I don't actually really. I don't know him. Causing the gun to be. What words do we have? Fired, hacked, shot. It must be shot, right? Causing the. Well, what we can do, right, is we can put bullet in. We'll save that one. And watch this. If this is correct, then we can put like computer in here. Aha. So bullet is correct. Because we know that this one's wrong. Essentially. bullet to be loosed. Dropped. Shot. Causing the bullet to be ejected. To be... I know what happened, it's just what words in here let me do it, you know? The bullet to be shot, stabbed. It is shot. Into a wall. I know it's a wall. Maybe it's a sculpture. Statue. Oh, yeah. Causing the statue to be shot. Okay, there it is. So this is the wall. Yeah, perfect. When it causing the statue to be shot. When it fell, it hit or smashed or destroyed. At the exhibit below. And then set up the alarm, right? And then trip the alarm. But the thing is, we don't know that, but we do. Soon after the blank, the blank. What does that mean? And who can we show this stuff to? And why? Let's read this. After too many conflicting details surrounding the camera, I've submitted the film to evidence despite the podcast's pleading wishes to keep it to use it for clickbait and to generate a viral moment. In its current form, however, the film isn't of much help. Plus, someone at the department can have it developed. Oh, we can go call someone at the department. I didn't think about that, actually. Let's go do that. See what they can tell us. Because we haven't got all of the stuff, information to be able to actually deduce a case here. Alright, pause. Thank you. Mission have just walked right back inside. Hello, department. I guess I could give the police department a call. There's probably someone on their last shift about now. Can't forget to expense this charge, though. Payphones are getting cheaper these days. Checker, I hope the case has come along smoothly. What can I do for you? About the film. I found a reel of camera film that might be important to the case. There's equipment at the station to develop it. Could you send someone to come pick this up for me? Oh, absolutely, Detective. In fact, I'll just come do it myself. Okay. Sorry about the wait, Detective. I came as fast as I could. I think you arrived in record time, so no need to apologize at all. Here's the film. Do you know how long it would take to develop? Not sure. Someone in the lab will probably take care of it. You know how they are. Hulk, don't worry. After a while, you should have a photograph. Won't really have any other way to let you know when it's done, but you can always call. Ain't no issue right there. Well, I got no shortage of threads to pull on, so I'll put this into the bottom list for now. Thanks again. No thanks necessary, just part of the job. Good luck. Oh, won't need luck. Let's get back to it. Okay, now we've got enough information to solve this. So, we know that it destroyed it. And then tripped the alarm. Soon after, so this is the Taurus, right? The Taurus looked on as the podcaster accidentally had his camera dropped his camera, which took a photo when it hit the floor. struck the floor, when you think? Struck the floor. The podcast then stole its film, right? Because, of course, she did. She's that kind of person, you know? Podcaster then stole. We need to put this bloody podcaster in jail. It's film. I really think we should put all podcasters in jail, really. By this time, Punk was already dead. Maybe. Yeah, this is about the guard. Already. We don't have dead as an adjective. The punk was already. So he. The god had come into the. Arrived. We've got enough words to actually solve this though. When it fell, soon after the alarm. The punk fell from the. I reckon this is the punk, bro. Maybe the guard. No, I don't have entered. Let me read this for a minute. It didn't have homicide because only it was ejected during the incident stolen by the codcaster. At this point, I'll just have to wait for results to come in. Thankfully, I have plenty of other leads to resolve. When discussing the stolen jewel with the guard, I mentioned the state of the security system. While circumstantially poor, he was glad to know that it actually worked. Guests of the museum did recall hearing alarm, but I should continue to learn more. Knowing that, there's more to find at the crime scene. The curator's primarily and only concern was identifying the culprit behind the attempted heist of the incredibly valuable diamond from the museum's natural history exhibit. It seems the thief took destructive measures to steal the jewel, or did they? Apparently, the museum is equipped with a state-of-the-art security system which would likely provide more concrete evidence about what happened here. So, a way I could access the security system's data. Okay. Ultimately, the gun was not. Instead, the bullet stuck a stone statue, or the gun was dropped into the fountain below. The old timer didn't let up. The victim, injured and disoriented, tumbled over the balcony edge. Right, so we need to put that stuff in there. Fell into a. What else? Well, the old time of the fight. Upon taking this case, the museum doesn't employ an its superior. Okay, we've already saw all of this, which is worth celebrating that's beginning. Right. So yeah, let's go back to Y for a second. Fell, yep. That. Maybe it struck. And then. Okay. So that one's definitely tripped. Maybe it's gemstone or a glass case. Yeah, big glass case. It destroyed the glass case. Yeah, perfect already. Soon after the alarm. Okay, this is about the gun. Wrestled the blank. Right. The old timer fort. This is fountain. And this is balcony. And this is the pump. The gun. The bit after the gun. The old time I suppose dropped, or it's not exactly dropped, but it's close enough. Maybe stole. It's not. Maybe it's 2 away. Maybe I'll put this one in. The stabbed. The head. Maybe it's these 2 words that are wrong. The punk. Yeah, maybe this was punk. And dropped. Or, yeah. Yeah, perfect. Alright, by this time the bullet head or the punk, maybe this got something to do with the, just because of the photo of the mouse here, you know. The mouse is obviously the student, but I don't know too much about the student and what he did. And he doesn't seem to know much about the matter, right? I want to finish this before I end this episode, because I don't want you to argue about me. The secretary. Let's have a read of this stuff again. Forrest attempted to win it, became clear that he made his way to and over the natural exhibit. The podcast returned the camera and took off towards the park. The naturally history, the podcast returned the camera and took off towards the park. Alrighty. That's not very important. Right? Okay. And the continuous scuffle to accidentally shoot the statue and then drop his gun. Luckily, no one was hit. Disoriented, the punk backed fatal toward the balcony of the natural history exhibit and then over the edge. The fall was fatal. So disoriented the punk. So by this time, the punk had retreated into the yeah. But maybe the stanchion or something like that. The punk had retreated into the natural history. Are we sure this is even about the punk? In the... Yeah, that's right. And this one is the courtyard. Retreated into the foyer, yeah. So this one's definitely door. That one's definitely retreated. That was the one of the ones that I found was I thought was wrong. You know? Because I wouldn't necessarily say retreated. And so he hid. This is right? Head's right. Yeah, so it's everything but courtyard exhibit. So where did the tourist hide? That's the question. Let's have a look. The tourist. The tourist. He decided to escape when he arrived in the foyer, but artists informed him that the alarm had already placed the museum in lockdown. Right. Yeah, there we go. Who retreated? Who else retreated? Maybe the student? Head. Perfect. Well, I should have known with the mouse. Aha! I knew I was into something. This case is continuing to clear up, but it feels like there's always another thread to pull. And there's no use calling it a wrap before I know for certain what's happened. Okay, well, I'm going to call it a wrap. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya!